Hello and welcome back to our to the final installment of this one. We are going over. We have Billy Carson here being interviewed by Danica Patrick, um, and the last two segments in this one we've got rising towards the golden age and how space is changing. And I haven't actually gotten around to listening to these segments, so I'll be interesting to see what's going on. And I see down here interviewed uh, Kaira, tantric satanic rituals, awakening, and ascended masters. Um, I'd be wary of anyone or anything claiming to be an ascended master, uh, just because it's completely, I wouldn't say impossible, but highly difficult to understand the motives of like spiritual entities. They've been around a lot longer than any of us have, and they know all the ins and outs. And they might not. They highly unlikely that they'll have your best interest at heart. So, let's go ahead and finish this out.
Process of it right now.
What was the last golden age?
The last golden age was approximately 27,000 years ago.
Isn't there a cycle, about a 26,000 year cycle or something like that?
Yes, the Yuga, the Kali Yuga cycle. Now, there are many golden ages in between, but it's not global. Like Egypt has had a couple of golden ages within the past 10,000 years, but it's just an isolated area. And
Mm.
so, but a pure global wide golden age, every 26 to 27,000 years, you'll see this cycle of rise and fall. Right now, I think we're in the Tetra Yuga.
Um, I think I mentioned this before. Timothy Alberino is talking about uh, the the next coming golden age, but this next one is going to be Christ's golden age, and he discussed it that these ages come around. Um, it's a 20. Well, Billy Carson here was saying every 27,000 years or something like that. But these ages seem to correspond with uh, the astrological signs. It's like right now we're in the age of Pisces, and at the change of every single age, Timmy Timothy was talking about how there's always basically a destruction of the old age and coming into the new age, that not the spiritual new age, but like the new golden age. Um, there's a period of great prosperity and growth. Um, but we'll see what Billy has to say about it.
So if you're going around the Yuga cycle, the side on the right is like going back into the bronze and starting all over again. I think we're beyond that. We're in the side over here in this lower left corner, rising back up towards a golden age. We're in the beginnings of the Tetra Yuga as we're heading into the age of Aquarius.
Do just humans keep coming back over and over again, and there's extinctions that happen, and we start over, and we just have to kind of rebuild? Is that essentially what happens? And in your research, is there a certain point in which that happens? Is it always following the golden age? When does that happen within this very pattern oriented fractal nature of this reality?
Right. There's a lot of collapses that have happened via geological disasters, and that's a part of another cycle that we're in as well. There's a couple of them. One would be forget asteroids and comets. Let's talk about the planet itself. We know that the
Sure.
planet goes through these.
Before he gets into this, I read an article many years ago that I think it was some geologists had uh, been able to decipher that Earth has gone through five extinction level events, from what we can find in like through the geological records. Um, so, I mean, make of it what you will.
These pole shifts, right? And we're overdue for another pole shift right now. The pole shift of the crust of the Earth itself. So the crust, the physical crust, they're all together on these tectonic plate lines, and sometimes they slip. And when they slip, a huge landmass can shift hundreds of degrees in like just minutes, which can create a global flood. If you look at Antarctica, the reason why the Antarctica, the animals that are discovered there now have undigested food in their belly. The reason why that is because Antarctica used to be closer to the equator, and because of a pole shift, it moved there very rapidly, allowing those animals to flash freeze because cold water came over them with the cold air, everything else. They flash froze with undigested food in their stomach, which is now being discovered today. So we know that was a pole shift that happened that moved Antarctica into the position that it's in now. So we have those pole shifts. We also have something else called a magnetic pole shift. We know that by going to volcanic areas and taking the volcanic rock and putting a compass next to it, we can see in some cases.
I've been hearing about the magnetic pole shift for, gosh, like I think like my mother told me about it like 20 years ago. That it's just a very slow process though. That God, I can't remember. I think it was like uh, airplanes or pilots and stuff like that had to continually adjust their magnetic north um, compasses, like in the planes and whatnot, because the magnetic north just keeps shifting from true north.
Cases going back 26, 27,000 years that the magnetic field has flipped on Earth. So south is north and north is south. And we're in the process of flipping right now. Magnetic north is not true north anymore. It's moved over Russia. It's actually passing Russia now, which means that all the airliners, all the airports around the world have changed some of the the degrees for the landing.
Yep. I didn't know he was going to say that. But I was just commenting that I had heard about this like, a good 20 some odd years ago.
Coordinates, so that airplanes can land, because it's all based on coordinates and magnetic north. So they've had to actually change the coordinates to the landing strips because of this. And we're in the middle of a flip. Soon, north will be south and south will be north magnetically, which is going to create a little bit of situation.
What are the implications of that?
Well, we're talking about chaos. If we're not prepared for it, if it just happens really quickly, you have GPS errors, planes that can crash, satellites can come back to Earth and crash. They'll lose their orbits. Anything that relies on GPS technologies and things like that are going to have a major problem. Everything will need a software update. Everything will need to be reconfigured. Yeah, so that's another potential catastrophe that can.
Yeah, it sounds like Y2K all over again. If anybody remembers that one.
Happen. And then, of course, you have things like comets and asteroids. We have a couple of really big ones to think about. I don't want to say worry, because I'm not a doomsday person, but Apophis slipped by Earth and the Moon about, I don't know if it was 7-8 years ago, whatever it was. It slipped through a gravitational keyhole. Now, in orbital mechanics, that's not good. This thing is about the size of Texas. The next time it comes around in 2030 something, there's a potential, not definite, but there's a potential it could scrape our atmosphere or hit the Earth, which is why Obama ordered this special mission to land on a comet and learn how to shift its orbit, because you can't blow them up, because then you have a lot of debris coming in at once and destroying everything.
It's like the movies. You need to figure out how to divert, how to like shift it just a couple degrees to like get it off.
That's all you got to do. So we have that. So there's all these different things that happen on these specific cycles, that we're concerned about. There's another one coming February 14th, Valentine's Day. Again, another 2030 or 2040 something. It slipped through a gravitational keyhole, and it could be an impact with Earth as well. It's a little bit smaller, but still deadly. So we have these things that are out there that, we're in this Goldilocks time frame of mankind right now, where we are allowed to grow to this this level of technology. And the only thing that will save us is, can we technologically continue to advance to the point where we can save ourselves from these type of disasters?
I'm going to say it again. I mean, yeah, we can. There's technology that can that we'd be able to use from like comet grade disasters and things like that. But there is nothing that we're going to be able to do against a tectonic plate shift or a magnetic pole shift, or even there's the Carrington event that you can read about, there is something that governments can do to harden up. Most governments have. Ours has not hardened up the electrical grid infrastructure so that it can survive something like that. I think it only costs like $2 billion or something like that. Is that the estimated cost to do it? But it just somehow doesn't ever make it into those infrastructure bills. Go figure. But as I was saying, is that read the Book of Revelation, the 70 weeks of Daniel. We're beyond being able to save ourselves.
What about getting off planet? Do you think that's important?
I think it's majorly important to get off planet and create breakaway civilizations. That's what the Anunnaki did. They came to Earth as a breakaway civilization, and they went to Mars as well. And I think in order to ensure our longevity as a species in the universe, we need to get off this planet and create breakaways.
I think it was like the CEO, Lockheed Martin, made the claim some years ago that we now possess the technology to send ET home, as how he put it. How that actually manifest, like how that actually happens, that's, I guess, like above top secret or something like that. But he made that statement for whatever it's worth.
Civilizations in other places. I think it's important, extremely important.
Isn't Nibiru on a 3,600-year cycle of coming into our orbit or orbiting near us?
Yeah, so it's shifted orbit over time. So in the beginning stages, according to the Enuma Elish, it was a Shar, 3,600 years. Now they've rediscovered this object, which they say is about 4 to 6 times larger than Earth. It is very strange elliptical orbit around our sun, and it has a brown dwarf star with it. So it's orbiting a brown dwarf star, and this brown dwarf is orbiting our sun every 4,200 years now. So it's shifted over time. It's moving. Okay. Just like our moon is moving back a few centimeters every single year. In about, in 100,000 years, it'll be a tiny dot in the sky. Same thing is happening with this brown dwarf in Nibiru.
So is it your understanding that Nibiru coming into our orbit on its cycle has been part of our evolutionary upgrades?
It's been part of geological disasters, not the upgrades. The upgrades came from the Anunnaki coming here and tinkering with our DNA. But the biggest part of our genetic upgrades and our DNA upgrade has been the fact that our solar system undulates up and down like this as it goes around the Milky Way galaxy.
Just going to comment on this one again. It's not our upgrades. Like, humanity didn't get any upgrades from the Anunnaki or whoever. They probably came here and tinkered with existing primates or created their own from clay. I think there was a Sumerian story where there was somebody, one of the Sumerian gods created a hominid race out of clay, but it is not humans, like humans that stemmed from Adam.
Galaxy. Now, this undulation represents hundreds of thousands of miles, hundreds of millions of miles up and down. Right now, we are at the galactic equator line. So we're direct center to the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. There are super high charge streaming particles coming straight at us, right from the Milky Way center, from the black hole, right towards us and penetrating us and altering and changing our DNA. These supercharged energetic particles are, in my opinion, changing us, upgrading us, helping us to awaken ourselves as well.
Does this
Yeah, his opinion. Um, I think that we would probably if that was actually happening, we would probably see um, evidence of that within within societies. If there was like this cosmic awakening that has been slowly growing, that we would start seeing kind of the fruits of the seeds of those trees, or the not the seeds but the fruits of those seeds. Um, but as it stands, when you take a look at all the metrics of humanity, we're breaking down and degrading farther. And as Billy said in the one of his earlier statements, that the this degradation, this genetic degradation, as our generations keep um, diluting out, is being accelerated by our rather polluted society. From our foods to our air to our water, this industrialized society that has continues to pollute our bodies.
This affect the Schumann resonance on the planet? Is that what that is?
Yes, it affects the human resonance on the planet and the frequency of the planet itself.
I'm 40 years old. Like, in our lifetime, are we going to see a drastic difference, or how long do you think it's going to take to really truly evolve?
You know, the evolution of our consciousness happens very fast, although
Mm-hmm.
because our lifespans are short, it seems like it's taking forever. So you look at 100 years ago, we were in a horse, buggy, and carriage,
It's
and
true.
now we can put a remote control car on a planet like Mars, right, and look around Mars. We've
Right.
come a very very long way in a short period of time. I think consciously we have the capability of seeing some significant change in our lifetime. So I'm 52. I'll be 52 in September. And so I think before I leave this earth, as long as nothing crazy happens to me, I'll get a chance to witness some of the most miraculous and most incredible changes in the way that we think and perceive ourselves and the world, and how we begin to change this planet. I think I'll be in the very beginning stages, at least get to
Mm-hmm.
witness some of that before I
Mm-hmm.
leave. And so it's this process where, it happens over time. It could be another 3, 4,000 years to see the world we truly want to see, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
get glimpses of it. And like I say, mankind is like a baby learning how to walk. So right now we're crawling and we're trying to grab onto the edge of the couch or a little table and pull ourselves up. And so we're getting this excitement with this.
Yeah, he's right about that. Humanity is merely toddlers in this whole cosmic excuse me, cosmic playfield that we're in.
Global awakening that's happening. It's the baby trying to stand up. Eventually, that baby will take a step, but then the baby will fall, and it'll look like it all came crashing to an end again, and people will get depressed and angry and frustrated. But it's just the process of learning how to walk.
Yeah.
Eventually, that baby grabs on. It cries, but it grabs on and pulls up and takes 2 steps, falls. 3, 4, 5 steps, falls. Eventually, the baby learns how to walk, and that's where we have to get to. That's why it's going to take so much more time.
Yeah.
Walking is a series of controlled falls. That's the actual definition. And we have to get to that point where we're controlling our fall.
Oh, wow. All right. If there was like one tangible takeaway that everyone could to grab onto and keep in mind, what would that be to help our ascension and to help our evolution?
I think the biggest thing I could tell people is to look into their own selves, self help, self work, shadow work, biohacking, meditation, eating clean, exercise, and then also operating in service to others, unconditional love for others. When somebody gets you angry or frustrated, that's a mental test. Can you withdraw those emotions? Can you feel them, but work through them and then say, you know what, that person did something to me, but I bless this person? Because we have the power to bless people. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, don't get angry and flip them off. Run up in your mind and say, wait a minute, stop. I bless this person. I hope they make it to their destination safely. These are the type of mental, spiritual tests we need to be putting ourselves through on a daily basis to get ourselves to ascend to the higher level. It's like lifting weights, and you become stronger and stronger, and then you become incredible. You become an incredible being of light that way.
Well, thank you. I have a lot of work to do on the road, not get.
All right. Well, I'm going to uh, add a final comment into this one. This is that last statement that he made was is all the teachings of Jesus. So he's talking about the teachings of Jesus, the teachings of Christ, and um, how he expects us to behave down here, but he's not giving him credit. So I'm giving him credit here. Follow the teachings of Jesus, and if you want to start on a solid path of enlightenment, continue to study the Bible. It is the Bible itself is the alpha, but it is not the omega. Um, the uh, there's always more to the story, and it takes that God never does anything on just a singular level. Everything is like 7, 8, 9, 10 different levels, um, and so I think everybody who actually sat through this, maybe probably didn't sit through all of it in one sitting, but for making it to the end, I've got uh, another project that I'm working on, and I'll start getting the first parts of that out here soon. So thank you very much for stopping in. See you next time.